Once again, good afternoon to everyone. It's 2 in my watch, so I think we better start off now and then let others join as well. Now, before I start this webinar, I want to inform you all that this webinar is being recorded. So I hope you all do not mind with this. Now to start with, again, it's a very warm good afternoon to all gathered here. I'm Pratibha Sajangade Bhatt from Ingram Micro Cybersecurity team, here to present you all webinar, rather to create awareness on data breach. Now moving forward, so let's see what do we see from, what are the takeaways from this? What are we actually going to look into these webinars? So first, we'll be dealing with the introduction. So this introduction, it contains basic definition of data breach and various other statistics related to the data breach. And then we'll have 5 different case studies. 3 are from worldwide and 2 case studies are from our own Middle East region. And how these data breaches have impacted these organizations and what are their costs and what exactly went wrong? What could have they done to prevent all these data breaches? We are going to look into these and then we are going to provide our solutions and then at last we are going to have a short clip on Ingram Micro. Now to
Oui,
begin with,
oui,
hello,
oui. Un quart d'heure.
hello.
Ok, n'oublie pas le temps. Ouais, ok, yeah, yeah. Okay.
I think there's some disruption. So let me just mute other people. Moving on to the introduction. Sorry guys for the disturbance. Now first we'll see what is a data breach. Now as per these definitions, a data breach is nothing but any unauthorized access to the information as data breach. So US Department of Justice, they do give a very long description about data breach. It is nothing but loss of control, compromise, unauthorized disclosure, unauthorized acquisition, access for an unauthorized purpose or for whatever reason it may be. So this is known as data breach. Now, what do you mean by authorization? Now, there are two things to know. One being the authentic user and the second one is the authorized user. Now, when I say I'm the authentic user, that means I am verified. My identity is being verified. Say, for example, now I go to a bank and I open a bank account, e-bank account, and they give me username and password. This says that I'm the authentic user of the bank. Now, let's say, what do you mean by authorization then? Now, they have given me username and password, but I can access, I'm authorized to access only my files. I'm authorized to see only my transactions in that bank account. If I'm able to see somebody else's transaction, this means I'm unauthorized. So what I can do and what I cannot do, this is defined by authorization. So based on this scenario, if I'm the authentic user, but if I take somebody else data from the bank and do some illegal activities on those bank details, unauthorized bank account, and I do illegal transactions. So this means there is a data breach. Now here below you can see a triangle with C, I, and A. Now what is this CIA? C stands for confidentiality, I, integrity, and A, availability. For any data to be secure, to say that my data is secure, that means it should fall under these three categories. My data should be confidential. That means unauthorized users should not be able to access my data. Second one, integrity. Unauthorized person should not be able to change my data. And availability. If I delete the data, it's gone. That's fine. But if an unauthorized people should not be able to delete the data. So if this is availability. If these three things are missing, that means your data is not secure. So for your data to be secure, your data should be confidential, your data should have integrity, and it should be available throughout the time. Now next, we'll see the differences between incident, event, and data breach. What is an event? Event can be anything. I send email to my friend. That can be event. In your organization, say that you are trying to open Facebook, but firewall is trying to block the Facebook. It's again an event. Anything. It need not be any malicious activity, any activity, it can be event. But now when does this event turn into an incident? Now when I say incident, it means that it violates organization security. Now what does that mean? Say for example, I have a confidential information which I want to email it to another person from the same office. He's legally eligible to have all those information even though it is confidential. But what happens is when I start typing his email address, by mistake I type the incorrect email address. It is by mistake, and this email, it goes to somebody else. Now this is a security incident. Now this security incident, it means that your confidential information is leaked. But what is good thing about the security incident is that you can think that the person from the other side may not have opened this email that you have sent. He might have thought that it is phishing email and he might have deleted the email. So this is an incident. Or you can have some other examples such as say, I'm traveling back home from office carrying laptop, and say I'm traveling by metro, and in the crowd I misplaced my laptop somehow. But when I reach home, I do not have the laptop with me. And this laptop, it contains all the confidential information again. Now, this is again a security incident. So in this security incident, I can think that, okay, maybe nobody has seen my data. Or I can even think that, okay, there could be some person who can misuse this information. Both these things are possible in the security incident. So I do not know what exactly has happened with my data. This is the security incident. Now coming to the third one, breach. Now when does the security incident, it becomes breach? Breach is a serious thing. Breach is really bad. It has legal implication. Your data, confidential data, somebody does something illegal, that is known as breach. Now let me take the same example that happened in incident. I misplaced my laptop while traveling in the metro. Now, there were two possibilities. That one possibility is that nobody did anything with my laptop. They just returned the laptop to lost and found department and I can take it back. So this is just a security incident. But the second possibility is that my laptop, there is some competitor with ill-minded person, or there could be some person who is a hacker who has taken my laptop and is misused the information. Now, when he misuses these information, confidential information, which is he is not supposed to do that legally, but still he does it, then this becomes a data breach. Again, taking the same example of email, I sent it to a wrong address. Now, one possibility is that that person has thought that this could be a phishing email, or maybe I'm not the intended user, I don't mind. So this could be one possibility, which is good for me. But the second possibility is that he could be a hacker, or he takes all those information and he tries to sell it in the black market. So this could be a second possibility. If this he tends to do the second possibility, then my data is breached. I have compromised my data. He has done illegal things with my data. So this is the data breach. So event is nothing but anything that occurs. It need not be malicious. Incident, your confidential information is leaked, but something good also can happen. But if anything bad happens with the incident, then it is a data breach. So this is the main difference between incident, event, incident, and data breach. Now I told you about data breach, but what exactly happens after data breach? Now criminal got all these informations, but what does he do with your data? He actually sells all those illegal activities in the dark web. Now, as you can see here, you can see a picture which I've taken from Symantec. This is a very recent, the figures that they have given. If your data is stolen, then they get this price in the black market. So just if your identity is stolen with name, SSN, date of birth, you get up to 1.5 US dollars. Or if you have full set of data like name, address, phone number, bank account details, you get up to $100. Now, this is a huge market for them. Just by sitting and doing nothing, you get a lot of money. So this is what happens to your data. Next, we'll see what are the type of data breach. Actually, there are 4 different types of data breaches. How exactly it occurs? 12% of the data breaches occur due to ransomware, 28% due to malware, 46% due to phishing, and 14% due to human errors. Okay, now we can understand malware, ransomware, phishing, all these can lead to data breaches. But however, the last thing, human errors, and that too it's 14%. So now as I do the case study of, later, I'll tell you what exactly had happened. But to give you a brief information, in all these cybersecurity, there are 3 main components: people, process, and technology. So in cybersecurity, you just cannot think that, okay, this is a technology, this is a product that I've brought for my organization, that I've installed, and I have to do nothing. So you should not think that technology is one part of cybersecurity. Now, similar to technology, even people are as much as responsible to have the make your organization more secure. So in this human errors, say for example, you're trying to configure your database, and somewhere in the database you had to give settings public, private, or protected. So instead of giving private setting, you have given a public setting. So when I say public setting, that means everybody can access it. Everybody can see your data. When I say private, only few people can see your data. So when I give such settings, then there could be chances of data breaches, and 14% of such errors cause data breach. Now, few of the organizations, they do say that, okay, I have encrypted my data. So what now? So when you have encrypted your data, most of the organizations, what they do is they just encrypt for the sake of encrypting. They do not use the strongest encryption algorithms. They use just randomly select some of the weak encryption algorithms. So in such cases, your data is not safe still. Your data can be hacked very easily. There are many algorithms which can be cracked easily. So if you want to, you should encrypt your data, but you should not do it just for namesake. You should make use of the strongest available algorithm to encrypt it. Next, we'll look on to some of the statistics of data breach. So here we have, so as you can see, cost of data breach in Middle East is $6 million. Now this is a huge amount, and in Middle East we stand second. I mean, in the entire world, Middle East stands second in having these data breaches. The first is US. They have lot of data breaches, and after data breach, whatever cost they spend on recovering their system, it's $8.3 million. So for one particular organization having $6 million to recover your data or $8 million to recover your data, it's very huge. So it's always prevention is better than cure. So you better have your cybersecurity as now all your cybersecurity processes in place. Take all the possible actions before in hand, and then you will not have to spend all this money to recover your data or to check what exactly had happened. Now the next thing is interesting thing. This is as per GDPR report. Only 25% of companies report data breaches because they are scared. They're scared of fines. So if your data is breached, then your reputation, you'll have a problem with your reputation, or you'll have to pay some fines. Your brand image will be damaged. Thinking all these things, only 25% of the companies report the breach. Again, there's one more statistics say that 7% of the companies say that their brand images are damaged after data breaches. And 43% of the hackers, they target small and medium scale enterprises. Now, why does the small and medium scale enterprise matters? In Middle East, 90% of the companies, they are registered under small and medium scale enterprises. And in Dubai alone, there is 99.2% companies are registered under small and medium scale enterprises. So now when you say that 43% of this means it's almost half of these small and medium scale enterprises, they are always targeted. Now, any organization, be it small or large, they cannot say that, okay, my organization is very small. People don't even think of attacking me. They hardly know us in the market. You cannot just say that, and you cannot just keep avoiding all these cybersecurity protections. Even though you're small and medium scale enterprises, people do target. The main reason behind this is again negligence, lack of awareness. Small and medium scale enterprises, they neglect cybersecurity. They do not know what exactly is happening with them. They do not know what exactly is happening alone. Now, this makes the target hacker very easy. So if it is a large organization, they definitely know that, okay, these are the large organizations. They do have all these cybersecurity in place. It's difficult to find vulnerabilities in them. Let me just target some of these small and medium scale enterprises. Now, when they know that nobody is monitoring their network, or okay, this is more vulnerable, I can find vulnerability here, it makes attacker very easy to target such enterprises. And now when I say that we in Middle East, we have 90% of the enterprises, 90% of the businesses are small and medium scale enterprises. That means it is a huge market for them. Now, why do they always target a big business when they can have, when they can target such small enterprises and steal the data? So this is a reason why awareness should be created among small and medium scale enterprises as well. And data also suggests that, says that 69% of the hacks are done by the outsiders. Now, 69% of the people, they are sitting outside your organization and they are waiting for you to do some mistakes. And let's see what exactly these mistakes in the case study later. And if you see the figures over here on the right hand side, this I have taken from statistia.com and Veronis. So according to statistia.com, from since 2005, the data breach is increasing every year. And the amount of the blue color, it indicates the data breaches, number of data breaches that have taken place. And the one that is marked with black, it indicates the number of records that are being exposed. And these numbers, they are in millions. So these many millions records are exposed. And finally, what do they do with this? Obviously, sell it in black market and try to get some money. They try to misuse as much as possible. And according to Veronis, it's also seen that 17 million files are given access to all the employees. There's no protection here. Now, if I'm not supposed to open a file, that means I should not be given access to those particular files. But there are many companies who do not take care of all these things, and data go in a wrong hand, and organization has to suffer later. Now next, what should the company do during data breach? Now, if it is GDPR related companies, or like if you're in EU and if you have to report your incident, then you have to report it to DPA. Now, even in Middle East, this similar to DPA, and these incidents, these breaches, you should report within 72 hours when you are become aware of that breach has taken place. So if you report afterwards, then again you'll have to pay fine for all these things. What are the primary measures to avoid data breach? So here are simple techniques where you can try to avoid, but these are basic measures where you can try to avoid all the data breaches. As I told you earlier, in the database, when you're trying to store the information, you have to store it, you have to encrypt and then store it. encrypt using the strongest algorithm. Second one, you can make use of multi-level passwords to access the database with customer information. So customer information, this is very important to all the organizations. Customers trust you, trust the business, which is why they are ready to share their information with you. Now, if we keep it open, if we as a business, if we compromise with all these customer information, then there's no way that customer will ever trust you again. To get the trust from customer, it's very difficult. They could switch it to your competitor who could have a better cybersecurity in place than what you have. So now to protect their information, you should make use of multi-level passwords wherever it is possible, and try to change the passwords regularly. So do not make use of same password throughout. Try to change it once in 90 days or once in 60 days, whatever it is. The next one, you should have a proper disaster plan. Now, why this disaster plan is necessary? So all of a sudden, one day you realize that your business has, your data has been breached. So there will be a panic, there will be a chaos. Now, to overcome this chaotic situation, you will not know what exactly to do with your data. So you should be always prepared for the worst. So only when you prepare for the worst, you can handle it at that particular moment. So if data breach occurs, if these are the things that are breached, what is my plan A? Or if my plan A fails, what is the plan B? All these disaster plans should be in place, should be kept before in hand. So as I told you earlier about three things, if you remember, for cybersecurity to be successful, you should have people, process, and technology. So now this is a process. Your plan is a process. In case if a data is breached, and this is the process that I'm going to, these are the steps that I'm going to take. Moving on to the next one, malware detection software. So you should always have a malware detection software, and every time it should be updated. Now, why do you have to keep on updating it every now and then? Whenever there is new version, you should upgrade it immediately. Because as you all know that hackers are everywhere. They are waiting for some vulnerability. Now, hackers try to improve their hacking skills. When hackers try to improve their hacking skills, what do the malware detection software or any of your firewalls, what do? Even they try to upgrade them. They try to upgrade the services so that hackers do not compromise your system. So because of this, it's always recommended to upgrade all your software system, all your files. Moving on, what should I do when data is breached? Now, if you feel that your data is breached, if you are a customer and you feel that your data is breached, somebody's hacked your business partner's account, and you're its customer, then immediately first thing you have to do is reset your password. Not just reset, you have to keep on monitoring your credit card account. If possible, try to freeze your account and watch all your inbox carefully for any suspicious activities. And even here, you try to use multi-factor authentication. So it could be not just password. You can have one-time password from your mobile phone. You can make use of all these things when you find that your data is breached. Now next we'll come to Yahoo data breach, the first case study. Yahoo had many breaches since 2012, 2015, 2016. It had many data breaches. So now we'll see what exactly had happened. So this data breach is about Russian hackers when they tried to gain access. When they gained the access, there were 500 million people's record, and these records were on sale in the darknet. So as I mentioned earlier, with all your customer information, what they try to do is they try to sell this on the darknet. So here you can see the real example. Yahoo accounts, 500 million people's accounts were sold in the darknet. What did it include? So it included phone number, name, password, challenge question, password recovery email. All these are the different things that these are really very sensitive informations. These are not meant to be seen by any others. So all these sensitive informations were exposed. And this was exposed, this happened between 2015 and 16 many times, but this was actually came into light in 2016. But what exactly went wrong with all these? How did hacker try to gain access into the system? Now, one phishing email is sufficient to create all this chaos. So there was one employee, by mistakenly, he clicked the phishing email, which led to hacker gain the access of Yahoo, and they took everything from the database and they tried to sell it. So every employee in an organization must be trained about what is phishing, how it can affect organization, how to check all these, how not to click all the phishing links. If you find suspicious, what should you do? Every employee must be trained. So not just this, along with that, an organization must have phishing detection software in place. With all this, how did it affect Yahoo's finance and business? Now, if you see the finance and business, Yahoo initially it did not say anything about the breach. It kept delaying. It said that, okay, we'll say it later. Maybe it's not a breach or something. Even though it was aware of the breach, it reported very late. So since Yahoo did not inform about the breach on time, it had to pay a fine of 35 million US dollars. And they had settlement charge of 85 million, attorney fees, and so on, legal cost 11 million. So you can sum up to 187 million on all these legal activities. Now, if you're into a very large firm, 187 million could be just a peanut, maybe. But if you're a small and medium scale enterprise, it makes a lot of difference to you. It could be combined 2 year revenue for you. So small and medium scale enterprises will not be able to handle all such huge fines, huge costs. So what can they do instead? So initially they can try making their environment, making their network very secure. Now this is just the finance perspective. Now, how did it affect the merger and acquisition part of it? It was about to get acquired during that time, and the deal was it was supposed to get acquired in 4.83 billion, but due to all this data breach, they had final settlement of 4.48 billion. They had to settle for 4.48 billion. So this again makes a difference for them. So This is about Yahoo data breach. We'll move on to the next data breach, Elasticsearch Server data breach. Now, this Elasticsearch server is just a server where you can keep all your database. So Microsoft is also part of it, and um, Microsoft, it had kept all its records in. It had stored all its record in this Elasticsearch server database. But what happened was it had a small misconfiguration. As I mentioned earlier, human errors are also a part of data breach. Due to human error, data breaches can occur. It could be unintentional, but nowadays it has become a common thing. And this common thing can cost a lot. For example, um, this Microsoft, instead of having its database set as private, it made the setting to public. So just this was one small mistake. And this mistake, what did it cost them? This cost them 20 million euros because 250 million records were exposed. And what did it contain? It contained email addresses, IP addresses, and all the details of whatever cases they had, technical support detailed cases they had from 14 years. They had all the records of them stored in that database. And these were now exposed. These were at risk. Now, see, because of this small misconfiguration, they had to pay 20 million pound as fine. So this is a huge amount. And this took place again recently in December 2019, not very long back. Now, next coming to GE data breach. Again, this is very recent data breach. It happened in 2014, sorry, 2020, February 14th. Now, what GE does is GE outsources its data to Canon. Canon handles all the database of GE. Now, Canon did not really think much about cybersecurity, maybe, but ultimately, GE's customers' records were opened up. Hackers got to know about GE customers' records. Now, what did it include? It included the details of current employees and former employees as well. So it said again name, addresses, SSN, passport number, driving license, bank account. This is huge for any hacker. So you can get up to $100 per such record in the black market. So as we have seen earlier. Now, what went wrong, which we still do not know. It is still under investigation since it is a recent attack. But now, in such cases, when a business is trying to outsource its data to somebody else, who exactly is authorized? Who exactly is accountable for all such details? Is it GE or Canon? It's a debatable thing. So is GE responsible for its customers' privacy or is Canon responsible? Both are equally responsible. GE should make sure that Canon has all the cybersecurity in place, but at the same time, Canon also should make that it does have all the cybersecurity in place. It does not reveal any of its partners' customer information, which is crucial for its business as well. These are the three cases that we have seen from rest of the parts of the world. Now coming to Middle East, Saudi Aramco data breach. Here, what happened? There was a virus called Shamoon. It's a self-replicating virus, and this virus affected 35,000 computers. And when it got affected, nobody noticed it. When was it noticed? People started noticing it when the files went missing. What did it do? This virus, it was replicating itself and it was trying to delete all the possible data from the computer. And it is believed to have occurred during Ramadan. Uh, to tell you, Saudi Aramco has a good cybersecurity in place. It had good cybersecurity in place during the time of this attack, and it still has a good cybersecurity in place. But during this Ramadan, it is believed that people, few of these technical team, they went on leave, and these attackers thought this is a right moment to attack, and they attacked. So in nutshell, what I want to say is that attackers do not see if it is Ramadan or if it is quarantine. They just wait for opportunity, and they just wait to see when exactly uh, you leave your system vulnerable so that I can attack you. So during this time, they sent a phishing email, and again, some employee, they clicked on this phishing email, and this a data breach took place. And good thing about Saudi Aramco is that there are many data breaches. Uh, Many hackers are trying to breach their system, but every breach that hackers were trying is failed because of the robust cybersecurity in place. So this is why cybersecurity is very important. It's very important to monitor all the businesses. The last case study we have is about Bahrain Petroleum Company data breach. This is again a very recent data breach. And there's a malware called as Dustman. It again wipes all the data. The best thing about this is as soon as it got infected, the cybersecurity team knew what exactly had happened, and they were able to mitigate this data breach as soon as possible. So this is a good thing. So if your cybersecurity is strong enough, you are able to mitigate everything in place. But what exactly went wrong, it's still under investigation. Again, this took place very recently in Jan 2020. With all these data breaches, the 5 cases that we have seen, we can see that most of these data breaches take place just because of phishing. Most of the data breaches. An employee, he just clicks on some phishing link, and then a hacker is able to gain access to your system, and he tries to disrupt. This could be, this hacker could have some political intentions, or maybe he could be your competitor, who has some bad intentions, or maybe just to sell data into the market. It could be anything. The reason this hacker hacks the system could be anything. But at last, who suffers is the organization. So it's very necessary, I repeat it, it's very necessary to create awareness among employees. Now, what are solutions? Now, at Ingram Micro, we do have some security audits, VAPT, compliance scan, secure source code review. All these are the scans, security services that can be used to check if there are any misconfigurations, security misconfigurations. Now, when you check, when you make use of all these things, what Microsoft had done, just setting their setting the access to public instead of private, such things can be easily identified using all these services. Now, if it is phishing, then what can you do? There are various products like email security products, which goes to your email and checks if there are any phishing email. It could be either in your inbox or it could be in your spam. It checks all these folders and try to delete all such phishing messages. As well as you have some other phishing protection products. There are various vendors who provide email security products and phishing protection products. Any organization, you can make use of all these things to keep yourself safe and secure. So prevention is always better than cure, as I told you earlier. So you can make use of all these services. You can make use of all these products. You can create awareness among people. You should have some policies as on what to do if anything takes place. If there are any breaches take place, then what to do. When you have all these all these in place, only then you can have your successful organization. You can have an organization without any breaches, or even by chance, if there are any breach, unknowingly, if there are any breach that has taken place, then you can easily mitigate those breaches. So at the end, this is just the overview of our Ingram Micro. So we are US-based company, and here in META region, we have headquarters in Dubai. We have a revenue of 50 billion US dollars. We have about 200,000 customers, and we have our partnership with vendors, around 2,000 vendors. And we are a Fortune 500 company. We are one of the world's largest distributors. So even though we are world's largest distributors, a couple of years ago, we have the team cybersecurity who's trying to work on creating awareness among people as on why all this cybersecurity is needed. And these are some of our solutions: cybersecurity, physical security, IO, machine learning, and so on. Thank you, one and all. So you have any questions now?
No, Pratibha, nothing from my side. It was a really nice session, and I'd like to thank you so much.
Thank you, Jad. Thank you so much. Any questions, guys? Thank you, Salim.
Thanks for the session. No questions from my side.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, bro. Bye.
Okay, bye. Sharing the presentation. I think we are going to upload the webinar itself. I'm not sure if I can share this presentation. So let me just talk to the management. I don't know regarding some legal thinks if I can share the presentation or not. So if they say okay, I'm sure I'd be more than happy to share the presentation. But webinar is recorded, as I've already told you, and this recorded session will be shared, will be put up in YouTube. Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Sharing the slides, as I told you earlier, let me just speak to my seniors. I don't know about the legal things, if I'm eligible to share this or not, but I'll definitely speak to them and let me see. Let me check. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Rahman. I'm here till 3. So webinar is supposed to be from 2 to 3. So if you have any questions, do ping me.
Pratibha?
Yeah, Zad.
Yes. Sorry, I have to jump on another call. So I'll be leaving this session. Thank you so much once again.
No issues, no issues.
Take care.
Thank you,
Have a
Zad.
good day.
Thank you for attending.